Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about Boston cracks down on dangerous food delivery drivers for Doordash, Grubhub, Uber Eats. So one of the things that a large amount of larger local markets are starting to do is crack down on delivery drivers, or at least the companies they're working with. New York City, Seattle, Colorado has been in the fight. I think Chicago, DC also have had their fights. And of course the federal government too. California and now Boston. And this time we're talking about the delivery drivers themselves. Also, I should have mentioned this sooner. This was sent to me from a subscriber, Chi Oakley. Thank you so much for emailing me about this and making this video possible. So with that said, we are talking about everything that is being said in this article, how it actually is for Doordash, UberEats, and Grubhub drivers and customers and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. Boston is starting a crackdown on dangerous food delivery drivers, and the city is demanding answers from the heads of Doordash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats. A lot of people have spoken out against some of the dangerous delivery practices of delivery drivers. While you can absolutely target things like risks of contract violations, of being too slow, some of the time demands that we need to meet, etc., and the fact that delivery driving is now currently one of the most dangerous gigs out of all of the different opportunities out there, I feel like that's just a reason for them to start implementing laws, because what else do they got to do with their time, right? Forget trying to fix the economy. Let's put our taxpayer dollars into making the roads even slower than they already are. Alarming increase in dangerous delivery driving. Boston's police commissioner and chief of streets sent them a letter Monday saying there's been an alarming increase in unlawful and dangerous operations of motorcycles, mopeds, and motorized scooters by drivers offering delivery services from your companies. The letter was addressed to DoorDash CEO Tony Xu, Grubhub CEO Howard Midgall, and Peri Dimitri Corey Cody, the senior vice president of delivery for Uber. There has been no public response from them yet. And if you really think they give a crap about that, you're sadly mistaken. However, I would like to note something. This is Boston we're talking about. Boston is, in my opinion, a very metro area. And the vehicle problems that they're currently having is motorcycles, mopeds, and motorized scooters. This goes back to the e-bike problem that New York City was having. This goes back to the cyclist problem that was happening in Canada. What's happening is that a lot of these people find that driving a car in a metro area is a very time-consuming experience. So what do? They steer away from using those kind of vehicles in metro areas and start using bikes and mopeds and motorcycles, motorized scooters, etc. And some of them even have their own laws, like having a bike lane. Some of them are more like in North Carolina. I remember getting a comment on the most recent bike video that I made where cyclists have to abide by the same laws as drivers do. But that's not happening here. Now, how much of this was actually delivery drivers versus just something that can make the sound louder? I don't know. I think this would probably be an overall moped, motorcycle, motorized scooter issue, but it just happens to be a good chunk of them are drivers, so therefore that in itself makes the whole situation louder. So I don't know. I haven't done my research on how the Boston market works. Boston market. All of the ones near here shut down. Many of these drivers are operating unregistered vehicles. We have witnessed widespread and ongoing incidents of running red lights, driving on city sidewalks, driving the wrong way on one-way streets, driving at speeds in excess of posted limits, and collisions, the letter states. This type of operation puts the delivery driver and any pedestrian or vehicle of a motor vehicle who encounters them in imminent danger. Okay, Here's a real question for you, though. If those vehicles are unregistered, how are we so damn certain that those unregistered vehicles are in ownership of the driver? Like, have we not thought about that? Like, how are we so certain? Because they have one of those backpacks? I mean, I don't know if you noticed, a moped or a bicycle doesn't actually have a lot of cargo space. There's not exactly a trunk to the car. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just have that, you know? Boston Mayor Michelle Wu says she's expecting the companies to hold their drivers accountable. The city has started sending out safety materials in 11 languages to drivers and restaurants. Oh, good. Micromanagement from the political side of things. Yippee. Going after illegal behavior. Our goal is to be very clear that we're going after illegal behavior, Wu told reporters Monday. We're trying to go straight to the source and reaching out to the companies that employ drivers to ensure that they are implementing the standards that we need to see for safety. Okay, why do you automatically assume that the people with the unregistered mopeds, motorcycles, and otherwise are drivers for Doordash, UberEats, and Grubhub? In fact, on Uber Eats, you have to register your vehicle with them. They need to know you have the insurance necessary to be on the platform. Same with Grubhub, I believe. Sure, they don't continuously check on it, but they still expect that of you. Doordash is kind of whatever about it, but this is just gaslighting at this point. I don't think that this has anything to do with this, to be honest. The letter said dangerous drivers would be punished with fines. Some could have their licenses or vehicles taken away. It might be vehicles that should not be on the road, or it might be unlicensed illegal vehicles, Wu said. I'm starting to think that they just don't care at this point. They need this to be loud and niche enough for them to make enough noise about it. Other people would get on board with them because there's such a disdain hate for gig workers. I don't understand why, but because people dislike gig workers, they're going to make it so loud and gaslight us and make us the fall guys for them pushing a policy that's not even possible to begin with. Seriously, can Boston at least try to make it seem like they're doing their jobs? No? Okay. The city wants companies to answer these questions by Friday, June 7th. How does your company verify that drivers are licensed, utilizing a properly registered vehicles, and does not have a history of unsafe driving? They check our MVR like annually, I believe. They have us register our vehicles within the app. Otherwise, we can get deactivated if we don't use those vehicles. And does company verify that we're licensed? They do that right off the bat, and they have us verify that we're the same person through our photo, or like a facial scan using persona. Some of the times they actually misscan us and then we end up off the platform that way. Regarding motorcycle, moped, and motorized scooter usage, what safety and regulatory training, safety testing, and or safety equipment do new and existing workers receive? Please prove Boston and or Massachusetts specific training materials. We're not employees. That's not something that you can hold them accountable for. This is politics through and through. That's not something you can expect from the companies at all. You should be licensed. You should have all that, and you should submit that to the company so that way you can work on the platform. Otherwise, training and safety, there's nothing that they could realistically do in that regard. Sure, they can make us watch a few videos online or something, but other than that, not really. How does your company track safety violations, and what steps do you take to address driver behavior when safety issues are identified? Wrongful deactivations, pretty much. Like, it's either you're on the platform or you're not. How do you prevent account sharing by drivers or vehicle substitution that could result in unapproved drivers or vehicles being used? Persona, selfie photos, and they share that vehicle information with the customer, and if the customer reports it, even if it's not true, a lot of the times they could get deactivated for it, and they would have to prove that that's the case. What other steps, if any, are you taking to ensure safe vehicle operations by your drivers? I can speak for Doordash that they are micromanaging the way we drive these days, like from hard braking and speeding and otherwise. And then sometimes they'll even let our insurance company know, you know? What data is available to help us understand your operations, volume of deliveries at locations throughout the city, and the types of delivery vehicles used? Gee, I don't know, their frickin' website. Did you even do any research before making any of these points? Did you even think about that? Do you know how to think? I wouldn't even answer this question question. I would say read a frickin' blog. This is just politics. It's just something to make noise when in reality, they're not willing to do their job and actually do the research necessary. They just want to push this narrative enough so that way it can impose a policy that no one probably wants. But because gig workers' name is going to be attached to it, now it's going to get pushed through. It's kind of like how with the TikTok ban, they had to attach it to a foreign aid bill just to get it pushed through. Or like how a kid puts a chocolate bar in a cart and then their mom sees it. The mom looks at the kid and they're like, fine, whatever, we're here. That's what they're trying to do. We're trying to go straight to the source and reaching out to the companies that employ drivers to ensure that they are implementing the standards that we need to see for safety. Wutove reporters. Employ drivers. This bitch doesn't even know what she's talking about. We're independent contractors. Not to mention, with independent contractors, a lot of these questions are available on the website. You didn't even do any research on this. You didn't go to the source. You wanted to make a bunch of noise. Seriously, some people like this are just disgusting. WBZ obtained records showing from April 2022 to April 2024, police pulled over mopeds and scooters a total of 60 times across the entire city. More than half resulted in a warning or civil citation with no criminal offense. Fines can range from $25 to $100 for multiple offenses. Note the way they said that. Pulled over mopeds and scooters a total of 60 times from April 2022 to April 2024. 60 times in 2 years, that's 30 a year, and there's no real guarantee that that's even gig workers. Why are you throwing us under the bus to push your stupid policy? Are you not enough of a politician? Are you not able to make a case enough of why this is necessary? Or is it not necessary and you're trying to push something to appease some sort of group of people that's behind the scenes? That's what I thought. Police say they're working to educate drivers, reminding them that they need registration stickers on mopeds, they need to wear helmets, and stop at red lights. Duh. Seriously, I know I've been yelling all this time about how this is just some political move, but do drive safely. Like, I understand if you're not driving exactly at the speed limit, fine. I'm not even going to argue with that, but be safe, stop at red lights, and register your vehicles. Don't let that be the reason of all reasons that you get deactivated. Some say the police have not been visible enough. When a police officer goes after a moped, they're not allowed to chase the Back Bay resident Willie Charlton. So if the moped just keeps going, there's really not much the police officer can do. Oh, so they're gaslighting us like we're the problem when the law enforcement officers got their own hands tied. Maybe that's the real issue here. Maybe that's the problem in this regard. Not the fact that it's gig workers doing this, it's that the system supports it. Because it's not just a gig worker problem. They're going down sidewalks, they're going down the wrong way on a one-way, said Matt Furley, who lives in the Back Bay. Yeah, that's annoying to me. Go the right way on the road and stick to the roads, not the sidewalks. Delivery companies respond. Grubhub sent a statement. Any reports of unsafe driving will result in the removal from our platform, it said. A DoorDash spokesperson wrote, "We've been working closely with Boston City officials, including sending regular reminders of local regulations to Dashers." Uber sent WBZ a statement saying Boston urged the company to push drivers to move from four-wheeled vehicles to two-wheeled vehicles to help ease traffic congestion. Each new innovation is complex. As we have time and time again, we will work with the city to educate couriers that use the Uber platform. So let me get this straight. Your city wanted them to go to mopeds, to actually shift in that direction so you ease congestion in that way. And now you're crying about it? You're crying that the infrastructure you have isn't in place to support such a movement with your law enforcement and otherwise? And now you're blaming us because of your screw up? What the frick is that? Again, register your vehicles and all that. Blah, blah, blah. Very true. Don't get deactivated for stupid reasons. Either way, that's a policy you put in place and for some reason you're choosing not to enforce. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. Let me get this out of the way now. If you are a Boston driver on a moped, motorcycle, or otherwise, and you're breaking the law in this way, freaking stop. You're making us look bad. But stopping vehicles 60 times and your law enforcement is got their hands tied over the course of 2 years when you wanted to change the system in that way, it is just as much the responsibility of those in charge of Boston to properly set up the necessary infrastructure to solve such a problem than it is the people committing those crimes to begin with. And let's not forget, those are mopeds and scooters that were pulled over the course of 2 years, 60 times, not the number of people that actually were breaking the law. I don't even think this is a big enough deal to have this much of a news on. Are there better things that we could be fixing? No? Then why are you even here? What happened to fixing the economy from this crazy inflation? No, we don't want to address that. We want to just say delivery drivers are bad moped drivers. Is that how silly we've gotten? All in all, if this is what you're talking about these days, that's kind of sad. But all in all, if you are doing this, stop doing it. If not, politics will always be politics. And we're always going to end up the fall guys regardless. If you guys also want to email me on something that has been happening in your market or in general, my email is drivenwyld@gmail.com. Feel free to email me there. And who knows, maybe you'll be shouted out in a video as well. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!